informative session on complaints handling. Your insights into this critical aspect of medical device safety are greatly appreciated, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, guys, let's move towards our next session. Overview on European Union medical device regulation with special focus on devices without medical purpose. Our penultimate session for the day dives into European regulations. Let me quickly introduce our next speaker, Dr. Poornachand, a founding gold medalist with a PG diploma in hospital and healthcare management and a PhD in pharmacy practice. Brings over 5.6 years of experience in medical and scientific writing as an IVDR medical and regulatory writer at Cyient Limited. His skills encompass scientific literature searches, study protocol drafting, technical documentation for in vitro diagnostics and clinical evaluation reports. Dr. Poornachand also has experience in clinical data management, certified in areas like Digital 101 Waste Skills, ISO 13485, 2016 QMS, Six Sigma Yellow Belt, and data analytics. He has made significant contributions through his publications and research projects. Dr. Thadisetti's educational background and expertise make him an asset in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and research, driven by his commitment to continuous learning. We are pleased to have you, sir. Kindly proceed. Hello?
Yes, we will unmute you, sir. 1 second. Please unmute yourself and go ahead, sir.
Hi all, a pleasant evening one and all. Myself Poornachand, today before you to explain about the given topic, and I shall be sharing my screen. Please let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the confirmation. Yeah, first and foremost, I wish to wish everyone a happy Pharmacist Day, and I would like to thank the organizers for providing me this wonderful opportunity. And I take privilege in presenting an topic overview on European Union Medical Device Regulation 2017-745 regulation with special focus on devices without medical purpose. And it was immense pleasure to be the part and parcel of this one-day national virtual conference on ensuring safety of the medical devices. We all know that health is wealth, and life is 10% how you take it and 90% how we make it. And in such a life, the health plays a pivotal role. But in the present gravity of situation, due to rapid industrialization and urbanization, the health is getting deteriorating. And here comes the importance of celebrating these sort of days like Pharmacist Days or pneumonia days or etc. Those days, which promotes the awareness among the masses. So to reduce the burden of disease on the mankind. And as this is a jet age, we need to think fast and act fast. So to meet the galloping speeds of technology. So basing on that, this topic had been taken as a topic of presentation. And moving forward to the other slides, this is the disclaimer regarding this presentation, and this was only for this education purpose only, and nowhere concerned with my current organization, and there is no conflict of interest. And these were the list of contents that were being covered in this presentation, and it includes introduction, overview, various components of this EU MDR, and common specifications. What are these meant by common specifications, and conclusion and references for this presentation. And kindly please stop me if I'm going fast or any doubt in the middle. Yeah. And coming to the list of acronyms that were being used in this presentation, these were the list of acronyms that were being used in this presentation, and which we shall come across through this journey. Yeah. And from morning, we're all listening that EU MDR. For example, for a medical device, it's like an how we compare, like for Hindus the Bhagavad Gita, and how for Muslims like Quran, Bible for Christians. In a similar fashion, for the medical device, this is kind to be an holy Bible. That's this regulation, a medical device regulation 2017-745, especially for the European Union, comprising of 27 countries. And actually, this regulation comprises of 10 chapters with 123 articles and 17 annexures. And it was brought into limelight, means it was drafted. Earlier, it was like MDT, Medical Device Directive. And later on, it was changed to this MDR. It is effective from 26th May 2021. And as it is an ocean, like it's a myriad of things comprising of many chapters, many articles and annexures. This can be broadly classified into three verticals, like can be broadly classified as three verticals like determination, commitment, and endurance, where we shall be discussing in the upcoming slides. And especially the topic is upon the Annex 16 products, that is the products without medical device, medical purpose. And it includes the devices like cosmetic lenses, dermal fillers, liposuction equipments, and cosmetic lasers, etc. Even though they were not having the medical purpose, but they were useful for the aesthetic purpose and to improve the beauty of the subject or the patient, or to correct any deformity. So the safety and performance of such devices also should not be compromised, and they also need to be covered. So taking that, this novel topic, which was recently included in MDR, I had selected this topic. And the manufacturer also need to check that they should adhere to this Annex 8, which were discussed, which was related to the classification, and where we have 22 types of classification was done of this medical device. And also there comes the role of an PRCC, like personal responsible for regulatory compliance, which is like a job opportunity for the regulatory graduates as well, and which falls under the Article 15 of the MDR. Likewise, it includes the various other requirements which falls under Article 10 of this MDR, as well as the concept of vigilance, which was recently presented by the eminent speaker in the previous session. And these were also need to be achieved by this particular medical, those devices without medical purpose. They also need to achieve all these guidelines or achieve these statements, so that they effectively improve the condition of the patient or the subject. And with this all, I know that since morning you are coming across what is a medical device, this definition. And I think that it's better not to go deep into this particular basics because they were already covered. However, I shall represent the various medical devices like implantable medical device and generalized medical devices where we come across in and day out of our life. Likewise, we come across scissors when we are having running temperature, thermometers, bandages, glove, these all things. And Corona had improved this knowledge as well, especially on the usage of pulse oximeters, the surgical mask, those all things. This had it had been a boon in such a way that it had improved the understanding of the healthcare things that were being practiced by the mankind. And some of the wireless and advanced implantable medical devices includes deep brain neurostimulators, cochlear implants, cardiac defibrillators or pacemakers, which helps in making the rhythm, maintaining the rhythm of the heart, and gastric stimulators and insulin pumps, where they were being implemented in the condition of diabetes mellitus, and some foot drop implements where we see this across this orthopedic market. As we do have some different verticals in these medical devices, it falls under the orthopedic devices, where this falls under diabetic care devices, this under cardiovascular devices, this under ENT devices. Some likewise, we do classify the class of particular the devices. And these were the various definitions which we are seeing since morning. And it's nothing but a medical device or a drug, which is used for the management of the pathological condition of the mankind, and which help in diagnosis, prevention, and monitoring of the particular pathological condition. And these shall help in vitro examination of the specimens derived from the human body, including the organs and various blood fluids and tissue extractions as well. And this medical device also includes the various softwares as a medical device, and it is a separate domain where the software is considered as a medical device. It is known as SAMD. And there are different regulations that will be regulating that particular SAMD as well. And before going deep into the topic, we need to have some basic understanding of what's meant by clinical research and how it is correlated with this particular EU MDR. Clinical research as defined by National Institute of Health, it's nothing but the medical research on human subjects. And it includes various types of research like patient-oriented research, epidemiological studies, and various health outcome studies, where we know that HEOR type of studies, health economics and outcomes research studies. And these shall provide the various facts into the limelight. Like, for example, they help in knowing the mechanism of human disease, and they also helps in knowing how particular therapy helps in the intervening of that particular disease, and how the novel technologies help in the management of diseases and understanding the different conditions. This clinical research is common for both drug or device. And this clinical research includes various phases. We know that clinical trials, like various phases of clinical trials were there. For example, in the medical device phase here, we could see that there were different 5 phases for these medical devices, and whereas for drugs it is phase 4. However, sometimes we do consider phase 5 that serendipity. Likewise, minoxidil, which was used as for an antihypertensive, which is used for hair growth. Likewise, that one, and the microdosing trials, which are also the important aspects that need to be covered before understanding the core part of any guideline. And these were the basic things as a healthcare professional. We do need to have some understanding from the birth to death how a particular device or drug enters into the market. And hope I am clear till any doubt. Okay. Assuming that there is no doubt, I'm moving forward to the other slides. And coming to the scope and objective of this EU MDR, it includes the main scope is that it mainly deals with the regulation for placing the particular device onto the market, and also the see that it is in service, the medical device were in good service for human use, and especially in the European Union. As we are talking about this EU MDR, it's for European Union. And the main objective is that to maintain the quality and safety of these medical devices is the main scope and objective of this EU MDR, so that the safety of the patients and the other users is maintained. And these were the different timelines that were being discussed, like how it was initially MDT, and how it later end up into MDR, and how the timeline was extended till May 2024 and still 2026. And the reason for this extension of timelines is that in the domain of medical devices, actually, the expertise personnel were limited, and the number of notified bodies were also limited. And the regulation had given some chance also to develop the resources so that this particular timeline can be achieved within the stipulated time. And this was earlier, it was like till May 2021, it's a combination of medical device directive and active medical device directive, implantable medical devices. These were the scenario, but now it was changed to MDR regulation, and it is continuing. It will be continuing till 25th May 2024. And then there should be the regulators or the manufacturer need to check that they place the devices within by adhering to these particular regulations. And this is a nutshell overview of this, how this MDR was framed. Like, it's a combination of active implantable medical devices directive and MDD. And AMDDD comprises of 17 articles, which is of 35 pages, and it comprises of 9 annexures. Whereas as MDD, it includes 20 articles, 60 pages, and 12 annexures. And the MDR, which is the latest one, which we're currently following for these medical devices in the European Union, it comprises, which we had already discussed, that it comprises of 123 articles, 333 pages of document with 17 annexures. And these were some of the important definitions that were being covered in this EU MDR, like active devices, implantable device. These are easy, we can easily understand. There is nothing rocket science in this. They were like every cup of tea. We can understand by reading once we read that. For example, once we go through this active device, is a device which operates with the source of energy other than the that being generated by the human body. For example, we need, for the working of pacemakers, we need the electronic equipment like batteries. Those should need to be recharged, and we need to get the energy from that. And such devices can be classified as active devices. And the implantable devices, from the name, we can understand that these particular devices are being implanted. And invasive is also like which enters to the body through an orifice, and which was also earlier discussed. And it includes some of the common medical devices like catheters, ET tubes, central venous catheters, etc. And this also relates to that. And falsified devices. These were like some manufacturer do manufacture some device with some intended purpose, but sometimes they may fail and they can't meet the quality standard or the specification. And such will be classified under falsified medical devices. And coming to the label, is nothing but we know that we do have that drug label on the tablets, everything. It's like a printed or graphical information which is printed on the device and which provides the information for that particular device. And instruction for use, it is also the information that is like, it's like an patient information leaflet, nothing but it's an instruction for use of that particular device. And some other main definitions, like it includes unique device identifier. But it's nothing but it's a combination of alphanumeric number. It will be specific to that particular device, and it will be basing upon the nomenclature and the intended purpose. It will be assigned to that particular device, and so that to avoid the ambiguity, and it provides crystal clear clarity so that the particular device is on the market or not, we can get that information. Likewise, these were also the different terminologies like placing on the market, means how the particular device is placed into the market, and which is not an investigational device, and which is used for diagnostic purpose, that can be considered as for placing on the market. And making available on the market, here we need to understand the slight difference, how this placing on the market is different from this making available on the market. And this making available on the market means like supply of your device, which is also the other than the investigational device for distribution consumption. And it's for the return of for payment or for free of charge. It's like making available on the market. For example, we can consider here as COVID kits, which were like they were available on the market because basing upon the necessity and the need of the. And some other terminologies includes this putting into service, authorized representative, importer, distributor. And these all terms like authorized representative, importer, distributor, they fall under broadly. These can be classified as an economic operators, because the manufacturers will be located in one country, and these economic operators like authorized representative of that particular manufacturer and the importer of that particular device of that particular manufacturer, distributor, these all falls under the common category of economic operators. And these economic operators also plays a vital role in marketing of that particular device into that particular territory or the particular country. And these are also discussed broadly in the upcoming slides, these aspects of this particular thing. And this is the core part of this presentation, where the 17 annexures of this EU MDR were presented. And the first one is about general safety and performance requirements. And the second one is the technical documentation. And third one is technical documentation on post-market surveillance. And fourth one is declaration of conformity. And as a person from industry, I do have some. Currently, I am working on these 4 aspects, 4 annexures of this particular MDR as well as IVDR. IVDR falls under the category of 2017 746 guideline, whereas this MDR falls under 2017 745 regulation. And coming to this 5th one is CE marking of conformity. And 6th one, it is like how the particular device were registered with the help of economic operators, where we discussed earlier, like how the importer, distributor, those were that particular term with the help of particular UDDR. And 7th one was requirements to be met by the notified bodies, because before submission to these regulatory bodies, the particular manufacturer, along with the help of the service industry, means their contract, they shall be performing these activities, like they shall be drafting the technical documentation as well as declaration of conformity, and prepare the dossier, and they route this particular thing and submit to the notified bodies before submitting to the regulatory, so that any gaps can be identified, and those can be gap analysis can be performed with the aid of these notified bodies. And some of the notified bodies, renowned notified bodies across the globe includes TUV, GMAT, etc. And this class 8 rules, like there were 22 rules for classification of these devices, like basing on the risk they were causing, basing on the intended purpose they were used, like basing on the extent till they were, how long they were used, like acute or chronic something. These were like different classification rules. And this is the coming to the Annex 9, it was about the conformity assessment based on the QMS, Quality Management System, ISO 13485, and the assessment of the TD, technical documentation. And coming to Annex 10, it is about the assessment based upon the type of examination. Likewise, these were all different annexures, and today's presentation's main focus is this Annex 16. That is list of products without an intended medical purpose, which was referred in Article 1 and 2. And the last annex was about the correlation table. And the PMS, those were all discussed in this particular Annex 14 and Annex 15 as well. And this was the summary of that particular various Annex 17 annexes of this EU MDR. And coming to this common specification, these were the harmonized standards which were used if they were not mentioned for any international standards, like they were upcoming standards. For example, to address the public health concerns, they shall be very useful. For example, this particular EU MDR regulation for this medical devices without medical purpose, they don't have the proper guidelines till date. They were still under drafting and they were in the toddling stage. So these common specifications which are mentioned under the Article 9 of this EU MDR shall be helpful for addressing these requirements of this particular devices without medical purpose. And the decision of this medical device consortium group, coordination group, will also be taken into account by this EU MDR for addressing these requirements for these devices without medical purpose. And there will be two circumstances where this particular CS common specification comes into play, is that it helps in assessing the clinical evaluation and risk management with the safety of devices which don't have the medical purpose. For example, dermal fillers, where we had discussed earlier that it is having the it is useful for the for improving the aesthetic performance of that particular individual, but it's not having the medical purpose. And to establish the requirements for validation, risk management, testing, and reporting of incidents associated with reprocessing single-use devices is also mentioned in these common specifications. And these were the CS for the reprocessable devices, like single-use medical devices. It provides the various nook and corner about the various steps that need to be followed for the management of these various for this sterilization of this particular single-use medical devices, which shall be useful for the management of the risks and considering the various parameters like construction related material, the preliminary assessment of the suitability of a single-use device, and the validation procedures will also be addressed by this common specification for the single-use devices, and the traceability of this reprocessed single-use device will also be considered for the how to reprocess the single-use devices. And this was the flowchart, how it was performed. The sterilization of the medical devices were performed as per the ISO standard 17664. And it includes the pre-treatment at point of use, cleaning, disinfection, and drying, as well as the other steps like packaging, sterilization, storage, and transportation. And this was the representation of these particular steps in a sequential manner. And coming to this Annex 8, which was related to this device classification, we also see that since morning we are seeing that the devices were broadly classified into class 1, 2, 3, basing upon the risk, whereas in vitro diagnostic reagents were classified into class A to D, basing upon the risk. And the class A were like low risk, whereas here class 1 will be low risk. And it would be again subclassified into 3 types, like 1M, 1S, and 1R, like which is used for measurement purpose, which is sterile, which is used for sterile purpose, and which are reusable. And 2A is medium risk. We can consider these blood pressure monitors, sphygmomanometers as the class 2A device, and class 2B devices like ventilators, where we often see in the ICUs. Class 2B like high risk implants like hip implants, breast implants. This comes under class 2B implants, and class 3 joint replacement and pacemakers. And here in this pyramid, we could see that how this risk was increasing from class 1 to class 3A, and class 2A, 2A and 2B, the risk is medium risk. Whereas class 1, it would be low risk, and class 3, the risk would be high. And these were there were, even though there were 22 rules for classification of devices, there were still some challenges that were being mentioned in this EU MDR, like more implants in class 3. This was the major challenge for this device classification. And some of the new rules for materials of human origin, they were being classified as class 3. Nanomaterials, where the nanomaterials were being used as a part and parcel of that particular device. These were also new rules were framed. And this was also one of the challenges. And the combination products, like all three, for example, when we consider condition of HIV or SARS-CoV-2 antigen, those particular things all will be like combined, and they will be classified under class 3. And in IVD, it could be like class D, and they need to be submitted for the notified bodies for assessment. And for if any gaps arise, then the particular deficiency report need to be analyzed, and it should be again documented and sent for the notified bodies, so that it can be properly go through the regulatory check and release into the market. And some of the new technologies like treatment of cells or tissues, in vitro treatment methods were also placed under class 3. And this was also one of the challenge which need to be addressed in this EU MDR. And for example, in case of SAM, like software as a medical device, they were classified as class 2A, 2B, and 3. And this also need to be addressed. And some of the devices also need to be reclassified, because in daily, in our work as well, we do come across sometimes the particular class 3, class C device changes to class B device, and class B device changes to class C. It depends upon the regulatory and the requirement. So as the regulatory is a dynamic field, it's like an it's a dynamic work. We need to complete, always need to edit that particular technical documents or declaration of conformity, basing upon the requirements of the particular standards being followed by that particular country. And some devices will have to be reclassified, and it includes like the devices which come in direct contact with the heart or central circulatory system are class 3. And these basing upon the duration, how long they were being in contact with that particular central circulatory system, they also need to be reclassified. And active implantable devices and their accessories also need to be reclassified. Currently, they were like class 3. And totally partial joints, spinal disc replacements, and implantment devices also are classified as class 3 at present. And these were the different classification rules which we had discussed earlier. Like there were 22 rules basing upon the type of device. For example, for non-invasive device, where the risk is minimal, basic upon the rules 1 to 4, they were classified as non-invasive devices. And invasive devices like 5 to 8, rules 5 to 8, they were being followed for classifying the device as invasive device. And the active device is from the rule 9 to 13. And specific rules means these were like not generalized. These were specific to that particular device, and they were included from 14 to 22. These were the specific rules. And some of the key changes in the MDR. We all know that as we had migrated from MDD to MDR, there were some changes that were being implemented in MDR on comparison with MDD. For example, this is 4 times longer than MDD and contains 5 more annexures, which we had already discussed clearly how many annexures and how many pages and how many articles were mentioned in this particular thing, MDR. And the safety was increased. The focus on increased safety was emphasized in this particular MDR. And the word safety was used 290 times in the MDR, whereas in MDD, it was only used 40 times. So it is also one of the key change, how the regulatory bodies were being more focused on the safety of the particular individuals or the subjects or the patients. So, so they had modified from MDD to MDR. And we also see that some of the portfolios were rationalized, and some of the wordings were changed. And this today's topic, that's devices without medical purpose, is also one of the rationalized portfolios. And the recertification, which we had discussed, that owing to some of the changes in the challenges in the classification of drugs, they need to be recertified. And whereas sometimes earlier they would be following this guideline of MDTT, but now as per the requirement, as it is MDR regulation, it again need to be recertified basing on this MDR. And updation, this was also like has now to be updated in the clinical data. in this MDDT, things need to be modified into MDR thing, and the more focus is upon the benefit and risk analysis was more high, and the safety was more emphasized in this particular MDR. And the implementation of UDI, that's unique device identifier, it will be also implemented to help track devices throughout the economic operators, where we discussed that economic operators includes the manufacturers, the distributors, the importers, etc. Will also be need to maintain some of the data relating to this particular device with a unique UDI. And MDR has well, which we had discussed, that it's a combination of active implantable medical device directive as well as the medical devices directive. And the definition of the medical devices were also modified in this MDR compared with this MDDT. And some of the equivalent standards were also being incorporated in this MDR, so to prove the safety of this particular medical devices. And report generation, likewise, where we had discussed about the safety reporting, like a vigilance or the post-marketing surveillance, how it need to be reported to the regulatory bodies, that in case of serious and issues, it need to be reported within 15 days, 15 to 30 days. And these particular things were also emphasized in this MDR. And the revisit the core process. This is also one of the important aspects that was being highlighted in this MDR, that we need to revisit the core process of this relating to this quality assurance and risk management, which was highlighted in the previous presentation, that ISO 14971 risk management and post-marketing expectations also need to be satisfied by revisiting the core process that is being followed by the manufacturers. And the reclassification, which we had already discussed, that the higher risk and the usable, basing upon the usability of the devices, they can be reclassified and be under the guidance of this notified bodies guidance. And this is the graphical representation where we had earlier discussed that this particular EU MDR can be broadly classified into 3 parts, like determination, commitment, and endurance. And coming to this determination, this is the first part, basic part of this particular EU MDR, and it includes like a transition periods, which we had discussed, and the Annex 16 devices without medical purpose, CS Common Specification, which we had discussed, the scrutiny, how the things were being followed, so to maintain the standards, and the CAPA related things, which we need to initiate when there is a deviation from the manufacturing process. And this all falls under the category of determination. And coming to the commitment thing, it includes various economic operators like exporters, importers, distributors, etc. And the clinical evidence of that particular device, how that particular device is performing in the clinical trials, that particular clinical evidence, and how it is performing the competitor devices, that all things also is mentioned in this particular clinical evidence. And coming to this responsible person, where I had mentioned that this responsible person is nothing but person responsible for regulatory components. Here also, it also provides one of the job opportunities who are wish to be the part and parcel of this particular regulatory team of this medical devices, where within a bachelor degree and with an experience of 2 to 3 years, they can bag this particular position of PRCC. And the technical documentation TD, which is like Annex 2 of this particular EU MDR. And the Annex 1, which was GSPR, General Safety and Performance Requirements of this particular guideline, which is incorporated in the technical document of that particular device, which need to be submitted to the regulatory bodies for getting the approval basing upon the requirements. And coming to this endurance, like it includes the various processes like PMCF, like post-marketing clinical follow, PMS. PMS is nothing but post-marketing surveillance. And the UDAMED database, which was highlighted in the previous presentation, how the data was maintained in the UDAMED relating to the particular events that were being caused by that particular device. And this was the thing about that particular, this is an bird eye view about this particular EU MDR, about various aspects that need to be covered. And coming to this fourth topic of this presentation, that's devices without medical purpose. For example, sometimes we might be criticized, calling a crow black is not criticism, but calling a swan black is criticism. In the similar fashion, sometimes this EU MDR is criticized why these devices without medical purpose are being incorporated into this EU MDR. because we already discussed that as they were not having any medical purpose, but they help in improving the aesthetic appearance of that particular individual. And like medical devices in terms of functioning and risk profile, they need to be addressed. And these were these Annex 16 products were broadly classified into 6 types, like non-prescription colored contact lenses, which were intended to be introduced into the eye. And the second broad classification includes the solid body contour modifying implants, like horn implants, which were useful by applying to the various piercings of the orifices of the body, and like dermal fillers, which help in improving or removing that tattooing thing. Excluding the tattooing thing would be fall under this dermal fillers, and body sculpting equipment like where liposuction thing would be falling under this particular thing. Body sculpting equipment, and in case of high intensity electromagnetic radiation like infrared or visible light and the UV radiation, which is used for the for skin resurfacing thing, then there comes the role of this in IPL, like intense pulse light machines for body hair removal. It's like intense pulse light, like IPL, like Indian Premier League. Yeah, it's like that. And equipment intended for brain stimulation that helps in applying the electrical currents or magnetic or electromagnetic fields, which penetrates the cranium to modify the neuronal activity in the brain. Likewise, it includes the transcranial stimulation, where these all 6 categories were the broader classification as of now in the EU MDR, and it is still under construction. Means it still is being modified by the this European Union to amend some of the changes and to include some of the common specification points for addressing these safety and safety issues pertaining to this particular devices without medical purpose. And this was the this slide shows how the particular medical device is compared. This medical device is being compared with this device without medical purpose. For example, this is the cosmetic contact lens. This can be compared with this contact lenses, and the fillers or dermal fillers or injectables can be compared like analogously to this soft implants, needles and cannulas, and some cosmetic implants which were the devices without medical purpose. This can be compared to the soft implants and sutures. Likewise, these were like for non-active devices. And for example, in case of comparison of these devices without medical purpose with medical purposes, for active devices, it includes some of the active devices like which are used for skin treatment, lasers and hair removal. They would be in the similar fashion like medical lasers and phototherapy devices. And the equipment which were used for this, one second. Yeah, equipment used for this liposuction, lipolysis, and lipoplasty. These can be compared and contrasted with the suction pumps and ultrasound lipolysis. And the equipment for brain stimulation, these can be compared with this medical device, which is used for the device for stimulation and inhibition. And to provide some of the glimpses, I have placed some of the videos which could provide some of the understanding of this particular thing. Kindly let me know if the audio is audible or not.
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Yeah, thank you. Here, the different types of lasers were being compared, like IPL, where we discuss intense pulse light, how those particular lasers were used, and how these non-ablative and ablative lasers were used for treating the various conditions for aesthetic purposes, like deeper lines. For these ablative lasers are used for the management of deeper lines. Laser non-ablative thing for which helps in heating the skin, and this is for treatment of the pigmentation. Those things are explained in this particular presentation.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. We are
Yeah.
not able to hear.
Can't you hear this? Is it not audible?
Sir, now it is audible.
Okay. This is the where this particular fillers were used, lasers were used for the improving that particular acne marks, those all things. And that was about this particular some of the lasers, and this also provides some of the glimpses on different different things. Yeah, once again.
These are not able to open, I think, here. Sir, you can share with us. We can, if it is very important.
Sure, sir. Means are they not audible? I don't get. Are they audible?
No, they were not audible, and the video is also not playing, sir.
Okay, yeah, got it, sir. I shall be sharing with you later. Yeah.
Yes, no worries.
Yeah, thank you. And sorry for that. And these two particular in these particular links, you can see how the different devices without medical purpose were being used for the management of various skin related problems, some like to improve the aesthetic appearance of that particular individual. And these have some impact on the various stakeholders. These devices without medical purpose also do have some impact on various stakeholders like manufacturers as well as the end users, the patients. For example, this how this NX16 products, that is devices without medical purpose, how they will be affecting the manufacturers, that in the similar fashion like medical devices, they need to, this particular risk need to be, risk class of this particular device need to be identified, and it also need to be checked that this particular it adheres to that particular regulation, and it also passes the conformity assessment by the notified body in the similar fashion like the other devices with medical purpose. And also they need to draft the declaration of conformity and place a CE mark on the device, and they also need to check that the manufacturer, these devices without medical purpose also had the UDI, unique device identifier, and also see that particular related information is available in the electronic system UDAMET. And it's from all this we can see that the regulation is for these devices without medical purpose is also like in the similar fashion like devices with medical purpose. The thing is that they were given a special provision in this EU MDR as they were, and it might be changed as well. As of now, they were broadly classified it as in 6 categories. And in future it might be reclassified into 2 or 3, or it may be increased, something like that. But as of now, this is the current scenario. How these particular things are having the impact on the manufacturer. These NX16 products were having the impact on the manufacturer, and in the similar fashion, not only on the manufacturer, these also had the impact on this end users like the patients. For example, when they come across any such thing, such thing is nothing but any adverse event they were being affected with that particular device. Initially, they need to check that particular device is CE mark, and even though if it is CE mark and if they were prone to any side effect or any adverse event with that particular device, then it need to be reported as a suspected problem with the usage of a low card system. And it's like it's a personal setting, whereas in the healthcare setting institutions, this for example, here it explained about the for class 3 implantable devices, where UDI of that particular device is identified. Then the particular patient demographic details need to be identified, and for that particular dermal fillers, the particular implant card need to be identified. and that particular need to be those things, all things need to be reported if any adverse event affects. So this was the reporting of the surveillance, and the vigilance system is also for these devices without medical purpose is also similar to the devices with medical purpose. But they're varying in that, but they were, as of now, they were classified as a separate entity in this EU MDR. But however, they can be better, they shall be reclassified as well. And these were the different parameters that need to be maintained by the various economic operators like authorized representative, importer, distributor, and the manufacturer. For example, the quality management system, it need to be definitely adhered by everyone. Like manufacturer, this need to be adhered, whereas authorized AR, importer, and distributor, they need not adhere to this QMS, because it was as they will be the representative of this particular manufacturer in that particular territory. And the RMS also stands the same. Whereas for clinical evaluation related information, the manufacturer, these all parameters were applicable. Whereas it's not applicable for the importer and distributor, because they shall be distributing the particular product from the manufacturer. However, the authorized representative need to maintain this particular maintain this clinical evaluation data with them, so that it can be used while in case of audit purpose. This can be particular data, clinical evaluation data can be useful. In the similar fashion, the technical documentation also stands the same, like clinical evaluation data, that it need to be maintained with both with the manufacturer as well as the authorized representative. And the conformity assessment procedure, this need to be maintained by everyone, like the manufacturer and all the economic operators like AR, importer, and distributor. In the similar fashion, for UDI system, they need to be maintained by each and everyone. And the PMS related thing also need to be maintained by all these operators like manufacturer and other social economic operators. IFU and labeling thing also need to be maintained by the manufacturer and importer, distributor as well. Likewise, these all vigilance, traceability of devices, escalation to authorities like regulatory authorities, samples free of charge. This also should be maintained by all these authorized representatives and the manufacturer and the economic operators. Likewise, the liability for products, it's the distributor need not adhere to this particular thing. And the person responsible for this regulatory compliance, where we had discussed that it's PRCC, it should be, this definitely need to be maintained by the manufacturer and the authorized representative. And here are the career opportunities in that particular manufacturing company. An individual can fit into this particular PRCC position with the technical skill set, whereas the importer and the distributor need not maintain this particular PRCC personnel for the maintenance of for the distribution of this particular devices or importing of the devices without medical purpose. And thus, in my perspective, that I think that this presentation had provided some of the nook and corner of this particular topic, devices without medical purpose, and hope that's brought some of the interesting facts about these devices without medical purpose into the limelight, and hope that it had ignited the young minds. And yeah, and these were some of the references which I had referred for this presentation. And those videos also had some of the glimpses how that particular devices without medical purpose, how they were useful for treatment of this particular patients or the subjects was mentioned clearly. And yeah, so time for question. And yeah.
Yes, sir. We have a question from Amar Priyadarshi. To what extent is the European Union medical device regulation harmonized with international regulations for medical devices? And how does this affect the global market for devices without a medical purpose?
Yeah, got it. Actually, it's a good question that relating to that particular like global, how this particular European standards were being related with this global standards, how it was harmonized. Coming to this specifically, this EU MDR is like it's specifically to this European countries, this for only for these 27 countries. And also it is clearly discussed that each and every country had its own regulation. And for marketing of that particular device with medical purpose or without medical purpose, the manufacturer definitely need to adhere to that particular requirement of that particular country. And for example, for coming to this EU MDR, it was exclusively for these 27 countries in the European Union. Hope I had answered that.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Janvi Shah. How does the MDR implement the use of unique device identification for medical devices, and what are the benefits of this system?
Yeah, got it. It's like UDI is nothing but unique device identifier. It's like a nomenclature like thing where we have like UPAC names. So for example, when we consider in chemistry, how do we name the particular structures of that organic chemistry? In the similar fashion, these there would be like a nomenclature or basing upon the intended purpose of that particular device, and that particular UDI will be assigned, and it would be like a 16-digit, 14 to 16-digit number. It would be like a combination of alphabets and numericals. It's like alphanumeric number, and the benefit is that it can be easily identified. And if in case of any report, any adverse events that were being reported, but particularly by that particular device, it can be easily identified and documented. That's a major thing of this advantage of this particular UDI.
Hello, sir. Rashmi Adhikari is asking how has the MDR introduced changes in the requirement for clinical evidence and clinical investigations for medical devices?
Poornachand sir, I think you are on mute. Please open your mic. Yes.
Yeah. Now, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I repeat question, sir?
No, I got it.
Yes.
I am audible right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The clinical evidence and clinical investigation were the core points that were being addressed by this particular regulation, EU MDR regulation. And we could see that how the importance to the safety was given. We can see that 290 times how the particular term safety was being highlighted in this EU MDR, whereas in MDDT it was only 40 times the safety thing was considered. And also this EU MDR also focus upon the CPR, clinical performance reports as well. And it's a mandatory requirement by the manufacturer that they need to adhere to this latest regulation, and they need to modify their clinical performance reports as per this regulation, and they need to go for recertification as per the MDR or IVDR regulation.
Yes, sir. Ritika Arvind is asking, sir, how does the MDR promote transparency and traceability in the medical device market?
Yeah, as the starting of the presentation, I had mentioned that it's like an constitution for a country. Likewise, it is like an guideline for that particular medical devices, especially for this European market. And this medical device regulation promote how it promotes means by getting adhered to the various requirements like QMS, RMS, risk management plan, and the validation thing. Those all need to be achieved. Then only that particular device or reagent can be getting the market approval, can be released into the market. So this particular MDR, as it comprises of various regulations pertaining to this nook and corner that need to be maintained by the manufacturer, so that the safety of the particular device is maintained. So this definitely promotes the transparency of that particular device as well.
Thank you, sir. Tanveer Ahmed is questioning what challenges and opportunities arise from the implementation of unique device identification for devices without a medical purpose, and how can manufacturers navigate them effectively?
Yeah, got it. I think half of the question was earlier answered by, I think it was raised by Chanvincha, like how it would be useful for this UDI, how this would be useful. And the implementation of UDI, I had already mentioned that it helps in the easy identification of that particular device to which batch or lot that particular device belongs. And without a medical purpose is that it also, for example, we do often see that in the case of liposuction procedures also, some patients and some celebrities, they do get impacted or affected with some of the things that were not usual, like unusual things where you see sometimes we in liposuction thing, we see that the patient demise going to that particular procedure where the particular standards were not maintained. So this particular UDI, implementation of this UDI will be helpful for identifying those sort of devices and helpful for removing them from the market, and helps in investigating the manufacturer, and also help the manufacturer to navigate clearly how those UDI and the particular batch or lot related device were marketed across the globe, and they can easily recall them, and they can save the life of the mankind. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Vishal
Yes.
Tomar want to know what unique regulatory challenges do manufacturers of devices without a medical purpose encounter under the MDA, and how
Yeah.
can these challenges be addressed?
Yeah, as I mentioned in this slide as well, that in one of my presentation in the one of the last but one penultimate thing, where how these medical devices without medical purpose are impacting the manufacturers and the stakeholders. It is clearly explained that they need to adhere to each and every step that is followed for the devices with medical purpose. The thing is that the severity of that risk is minimized with these devices without medical purposes, whereas with medical purpose it is high. And it was also clearly mentioned in this particular thing how they need to go for the CE certification, how they go for declaration of conformity, and how they maintain the data on this UDAMED database as well. Yeah, this particular
Thank you,
point
sir.
was covered.
Yes. Ankita Sharma is asking, how can manufacturers ensure compliance with the MDR, especially for devices without a medical purpose, and what role do notified bodies play in this purpose?
Yeah. Actually,
Process.
initially I stated that it is still in the drafting stage, this particular devices without medical purpose. However, this MDR had provided some inputs on 6 categories of these devices, and also stated that still the notified bodies were also not across the globe. We also have only, I guess, around 19 notified bodies were there. If I'm not wrong, I need to check on this. Yeah. So this is like a budding stage. It's still in the budding stage, these devices without a medical purpose. So the data and the evidence. So the data and evidence for this particular thing, that devices without medical purpose for the manufacturers as well as for the notified bodies, is still novel and still it's growing. It's a growing area.
Yes, sir. There are still 2 questions, sir, if you allow.
Yeah, definitely.
Ashampreet is asking, how can manufacturers of devices without a medical purpose establish robust post-marketing surveillance systems and handle adverse event reporting effectively, considering the potential low incidence of issues?
Yeah, this point also we had mentioned in our presentation as well, that some of the PMS is similar to the thing that is being followed for the devices with medical purpose, and there is no compromise on this thing like PMS, QMS things, and the risk management things were all in the similar fashion like the devices with medical purpose, and there is no compromise on that particular thing. These devices without medical purpose, they can go away from this particular vigilance system or this reporting system. Any event, any less serious or more serious, or like causing death or causing hospitalization, they also need to be followed as like the devices with medical purpose, and they need to be documented, and they need to be added to that evidence. And the signals means undocumented. We know that in vigilance, we know there is signals means undocumented areas. Those particular thing of this particular device without medical purpose can also be highlighted, and it can also be documented as well.
Thank you, sir. Last question, sir. Gurkirat Kaur is asking, what is the scope of MDR in terms of the medical devices it covers?
Yeah, the scope is that already we had mentioned clearly in the presentation as well, that the scope and the objective. The scope is that to maintain the standards and the quality of these various medical devices that were being used by the patients and the other users in the European Union, that the safety is maintained and the risk is minimal. That's the main scope and the objective of this particular medical device regulation, 2017-745 regulation of this European Union, to ensure the
Yes,
safety
sir.
and reduce the risk. That's a risk to benefit ratio, whether it might be drug or device, anything. The major thing for any regulatory body is that the safety of the subjects are maintained. That risk to benefit ratio is also analyzed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. T. Poornachand, sir. Thank you for your enlightening session on European Union medical device regulation and its relevance to devices without a medical purpose. Your expertise has really added valuable depth to our understanding, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Once again, I would like to thank the organizers and the Chandigarh University and CliMed Research Solutions for making me the part and parcel of this such a wonderful session on this auspicious occasion of this Pharmacist Day, and sharing my thoughts and inputs with these budding professionals. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
sir. We are pleased, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and I wish you all the best, and have a good day. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So over to Vimal Arora, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you are on mute.
No,
Yes.
I'm not. I mean, I haven't started speaking anything right now. I was
Okay.
just recalling the things that, okay, fine. That was really a wonderful set of things which were there right from the morning till this. I think it's approx 4:15 now, 4:15. And I'm really thankful to one and all who were there directly or indirectly, because I have seen that you have recalled a number of members from your team. Okay, where is Sakina, and 2-3 names were more. So I'm really thankful to you people that you have managed so well. And secondly, a lot of thanks to our worthy speakers who were with us today. Like Dr. Karthik was there, Mr. V. Hariharan was there, Mr. V. Nagarjun Reddy, Dr. A. Pramod Kumar, Dr. Ritu Jain, and Dr. Poornachand. I think every session was having a number of things into it. Like number of times we skip these things. Okay, fine. What sort of adverse things are there? Fine. How to report that? How to interpret or handle those data over there? So these things are really very important, and they are very insightful. So I must say that Chandigarh University is looking forward for similar events in the future too, and will be happy and feel delighted to collaborate with you in future. As far as such conferences are concerned, even though I'm looking forward, because see, I have seen a feedback from our students also. So the few of the students, they have given me a very nice feedback that why can't we have workshop rather than conference? So it's really good, and it's appreciable as far as student is concerned, because usually students are not bothered about 8 hours or 6 hours sitting in a stretch over there for an event. But the remarkable participation by the student is also of concern over here. And I must thank all the students and other participants from various institutes that they have listened to us very patiently, and they were with us right from the starting. So I must say thanks once again to each and everyone from CliMed Research Solution, the invited speakers, and the participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. मेरा नमस्कार सबको, पहले आप तो प्लीज एक्सेप्ट करिए और of course, I can see, there are 100 plus participants, actually 150 plus participants all the time, last 6 hours. So I must congratulate everyone who was there, who attended, and at the peak time, I saw there were 200 plus participants in the our conference, today's conference. So I must say this conference was really wonderful and a very successful conference. And definitely, as we are always known for, like, to come up with the wonderful topics and the boost for the students. And I would like to thank Vimal sir, who has encouraged UIPS. So I would like to thank all again. Our I think my voice is not audible. I think I lost somewhere and my network was gone. Okay, I'm in hospital, so
No
no
issues.
worries, it's fine. Okay, so I must, I was just thanking you, sir, for giving us this opportunity to collaborate and conducting this one-day conference. And it was a wonderful topic, and all the eminent speakers put their 100% experience and knowledge, whatever they have from the industry, from the academia, and from the basic, I can see from the very basics, the tools of reporting the medical device ADRs, and what are the identifications, how to identify and how to remediate the medical device malfunctions, and what are all the, I was seeing all the sessions throughout the day. So Dr. Pramod Kumar sir, he has taken all the chapters of Indian Medical Devices Rule 2017, and he has touched upon all the topics of regulations.
Yeah.
So today's conference was wonderful and comprehensive, from the basic to advanced version of the medical devices. And if someone wants to learn, they can get a lot back home. And I would like to thank all the speakers and our collaborators, Chandigarh University, Dr. Vimal Arora and Ms. Neha, and my team who are working at back end. So guys, thank you very much for making it very successful. And one very important announcement: your certificates will be delivered by tomorrow afternoon in your emails, guys. These are just getting ready, so don't worry. By tomorrow afternoon, you all will get your certificates. With that, if you would like to speak, someone would like to give the feedback, what would like to speak, you can please put your comments here. Otherwise, the feedback form will be delivered to you in your email IDs, definitely. So you can put your feedbacks there also. And if you want to put your feedbacks, please speak. Anyone from the audience, whoever wants to.
I think people are writing in chat box on here.
Yes.
You're most welcome.
You're
Mr.
most welcome, everyone.
Thank you, sir. It was amazing to listen you, and sir also.
Thank you, Dr. Karan. Thank you very much. So, yes, please. I think people wants to talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's always important. It's always very important. We usually use the word that, okay, somebody can motivate you. But the first thing is nobody else can motivate you. Self-motivation is the first motivation.
Absolutely.
So boost up yourself, come up, bache, come up. Because these things will give you a confidence to use these very platforms and to come forward.
Yes. Okay, no worries. I think it was a quite tiring day as well, because we are, since almost 6 hours, 7 hours now. I think it's 7
Actually,
hours.
we were having two parallel events. One awareness program was going on nearby villages also on say no to self-medication.
Today is a pharmacovigilance, this
Yes.
World Pharmacist Day, so everywhere I can see all the groups are full with the pictures and
yes,
celebrations. Yeah. Okay, anyways, we can wind up. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Vimal sir. And yes, thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a good day. And see you soon in our next event. So you are already in our groups. You will be getting all the notifications about the certificates and all upcoming courses, trainings, and webinars and all. So thank you all. Take care. Have a good day, guys. We'll wind up.
Thank you all.
Sir.
Have a nice time ahead.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Get well soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.